Mabuhay! Maya paaldo kikayungan. Malaos kayo king probinsya ning Pampanga.
Pampanga is one of the provinces in the Philippines which is rich in natural resources, outstanding waterfalls, distinguished landscapes, and cultivated agricultural land. Not just that, Pampanga is known as the culinary capital of the Philippines, since Kapampangan are known to have a passion and skill for cooking. Besides, it was the first province established by the Spaniards in the year 1571.
Since it was the first province established, it also has laws that must be followed. In addition, in this beautiful province, we will put the legal aspects lessons in the province of Pampanga.
To begin with, let's tackle the political law. What is political law? Political law is a branch of public law which deals with the organizations and operations of the governmental organs of the states and defines the relations of the states with the inhabitants of its territory. Political law is an established legal practice area encompassing the intersections of politics and law. Political law are applied primarily to the government officials, candidates, advocacy groups, lobbyists, businesses, non-profit organizations, and trade unions. Since we are talking about political law, in the Philippines, we have three branches of governments: the executive, legislative, and judiciary branches. In relation to our chosen province, which is Pampanga, the local government in this province is under the supervision of the executive branch. The executive branch extends beyond the national government. According to the Article 10, Section 4 of the Constitution, the President of the Philippines is mandated to supervise local government all over the country. The province of Pampanga is not just being known for its massive growth over the past years, but it also known for being dominated by political clan. According to Article 10, Section 8 of the Constitution, the term of office of elected local officials, except barangay officials, which shall be determined by law, shall be 3 years, and no such official shall serve for more than 3 consecutive terms. Though this may be followed, this still not stop the political dynasty in the country, especially in the province of Pampanga. For example, one of the known political families in the province is the Pineda clan. The Pineda mother and son tandem both served their second consecutive term in office after their election to the top post in the provincial government of Pampanga. And the other Pineda as well has secured their position in the province. Additionally, the husband of the current vice governor of Pampanga is an alleged gambling lord. Amid the controversies, the Pinedas still secured their position. The question is, why our country still allow political clans or politicians to run for position where they are or their relatives are connected to illegal business? And why do political dynasties still exist? According to the study of Peter Crosser on the mafia-style domination, the Philippine province of Pampanga, in the case of Pampanga, it makes clear that oligarchy is not restrained by democratic institution, but is able to utilize this institution for its own perpetuation. This is true as there are bills that prohibits political dynasty in the country that has been filed. However, the passage of this law seems impossible to achieve as long as the majority of the legislators belong to the political dynasties. One of the examples is the Senate Bill 2649 that filed by Senator Miriam Defensor Santiago, which prohibits the political dynasty from holding or running for elected local government position. Also, Article 2, Section 26 of the 1987 Constitution provides that the state shall guarantee equal access to the opportunities for public service and prohibits political dynasty as may be defined by law. Despite of the prohibition against them being written in the 1987 Constitution, generation after generation of the same relative few families fill elected office at the very level of government. And this still exists in the province of Pampanga. This is one of the reasons we should know more about political law. There is still so much more to under the political law. But for now, this is all for the political law and Pampanga.
Mabuhay! As the part of the Philippines, Pampanga is subject to the labor laws and regulations that apply in our country. The labor code in the Philippines is the main law about work, and it tells about our beloved employers and Filipino workers about their rights and responsibilities. In addition, there are other laws and rules, such as the minimum wage law, the social security law, and the workplace safety and health standard law. As the province of the Philippines, Pampanga must follow the same labor laws and rules as the rest of the country. Employers and workers in Pampanga need to know about these laws and rules so that we make sure that they follow them and protect their rights.
Containing an area of 6,774 hectares, more or less, based on the CAD 71 of San Fernando Cadaster, the city constitutes a political body, corporate, and as such is endowed with the attributes of perpetual succession and possessed of the powers which pertains to a municipal corporation to be exercised in conformity with the provisions of this charter. The city should have the following corporate powers: A. To have a continuous succession in its corporate name. B. To sue and be sued. C. To have and use a corporate seal. D. To acquire, hold, convey real or personal property. E. To enter into any contract or agreement. And lastly, F. To exercise such other powers, prerogatives, or authorities subject to the limitations provided in this act or laws. Every municipalities can issue community tax certificate, which is subdivided into two. First, individual CTC, also known as cedula, which is issued to any individual or citizen at least 18 years old of age or above or juridical being for identifying himself and his residence, which can be used for legal transaction. It is also required when applying for business permit provided that the business is owned by a corporations. The second one is the CTC issued for corporations, which serves as a requirement for business owned by corporations when applying for business permit. Last November 7, 2022, a city in Pampanga condones penalties and interest on real property taxes to help its residents to pay almost 75 million pesos in arrears or liabilities in the last 3 years. In an interview, Garbo said this was the second relief the city government gave when it suspended real property tax payments after the COVID-19 pandemic was declared in the country on March 2020. The taxable properties includes land, buildings, land improvements, and machinery. The real property is local revenue source to fund public programs and services. This ordinance is a great way to help and support businesses in Pampanga to cope up again from their losses from the COVID-19 pandemic. We all know that many businesses, companies, and even corporations are greatly affected by the pandemic, and some are even totally banished due to the rising lease or arrears for their business while their revenue gradually get low each day. Which is why applying this ordinance not just in province of Pampanga but also to the other provinces, especially in the National Capital Region, can greatly help businesses to cope up again and rise again from their losses, and it will give an opportunity to boost our economy again.
Now I'm gonna talk about taxation or tax law. Pampanga is one of the provinces with the most money coming from within our country in 2021. When it comes to local taxation, Pampanga has its own rules and regulations that guide how the local environment like cities or towns collect their taxes. These taxes are business taxes, land of taxes, and fees and charges. It's important to note that the taxes, rates, and regulations are subject to change, and it's always the best to consult with a tax professional or the BIR for the most up-to-date information or taxes in Pampanga. The provincial government returns the taxes that the environment has paid in the terms of essential services like medicals, educational assistance, or an infrastructural development like roads, bridges, schools, and health facilities on hospitalities. And it can be assured that the revenues obtained by the province will be used for the benefit of the Kapampangans.
We will talk about now the criminal law in Pampanga. But first, let me tell you a short description of criminal law in order for you to understand more. A criminal law is a system of law that is concerned with crimes and punishment of an individual who commit the crimes. Of course, it is very important in every place, especially in Pampanga, because according to Costs Abroad, which is entitled as the Crime Rates and Safety Index in the Philippines, Pampanga, or the Pampanga, Philippines rather, the general level of crime is 40.07%. Are you surprised? You should not be surprised since all place in the world has a crime. That's why criminal law is important because criminal law offers regularity, enabling individuals to know what to anticipate from others. There would be anarchy and confusion without criminal law. Settling arguments, the law enables the settlement of conflicts and disagreement between contending citizens. Furthermore, sexual harassment happens everywhere and to everyone. It is sad to think that it may be as common as the cold. Women are the most frequent targets of sexual harassment, especially in Pampanga. 88% of women who are 18 to 24 years old have experienced sexual harassment at least once in their lifetime. Based on SWS survey, they classify these instances into wolf whistling, lascivious language, stalking, voyeurism, groping, rubbing or touching, catcalling, indecent gestures, and exhibition. However, what if it's not a Filipino who receives sexual harassment from another race but from both of their other races, like American to American? For example, an American girl worked in the dark street in Pampanga, and an American boy sexual harassed her. But this case is under the exemption of general law because an American boy is punishable in the United States, but not here in the Philippines. Doesn't it seem like it's not fair? Because the crime happened here in the Philippines. I think this general law must be improved. Like, there will be punishment here in the Philippines for anyone who commits a crime, especially against other people, whether they are foreigners or not, because they need to be treated equally. Moreover, according to Republic Act 8042, illegal recruitment shall mean any act of canvassing, enlisting, contracting, transporting, utilizing, hiring, or producing workers, promising or advertising for employment abroad, whether for profit or not, when undertaken by non-licensed or non-holder of authority. One of the examples of illegal recruitment is the news of ABS-CBN entitled As Umano'y Illegal Recruiter na Nag-aalok ng Trabaho Abroad, Tiklo sa Pampanga. The CIDG arrested illegal recruiter who compensate 100,000 pesos to his victims in order for them to work in abroad. However, all of them have illegal documents. That's why criminal law is important and it's needed to be improved, like lifetime imprisonment, because they can still repeat their sins. Pampanga should strengthen their law even more, especially with people who operate so that Kapampangan can work in other countries safely and without illegal activities. Thank you.
Now we are going to talk about the commercial law and corporation law and how it related to the growing province of Pampanga. What is commercial law and corporation? The world of business is organized by both corporate and commercial law, while both types of law work to provide structure and consistency to business operation. Corporate and commercial law are distinct. Commercial law, or also known as the mercantile law or trade law, is a body of law that applies to the rights, relations, and conduct of persons and business engaged in commerce, merchandising, trade, and sales. It is often considered to be a branch of civil law and deals with issues of both private law and public law. Corporation law, on the other hand, is an act providing for the formation and organizations of corporations, defining their power, fixing the duties of directors and other officers thereof, declaring the rights and liabilities of shareholders and members, prescribing the conditions under which such corporations may transact business, and repealing certain articles of the Code of Commerce and all laws or parts of laws in conflict or inconsistent with this act. In the Philippines, one of the fastest growing provinces is Pampanga. To date, the province has created the Pampanga Golden Triangle, which consists of the cities of Angeles, San Fernando, the capital of Pampanga, and the Balakad, as well as the municipalities of Porac, Florida Blanca, Lubao, Guagua, Santa Rita, and Bacolor. According to Lamudi, Pampanga is said to be the fast approaching its golden days with the avalanche of good and promising developments on its plate. Projects and businesses are mushrooming in sound and copious numbers, particularly in San Fernando, where economic activities are its starkest. Records from the Department of Trade and Industry attest to such bounty as the government agency documented almost 34,740 new business names registered across the region. And did you know that Clark is an investor-friendly economic hub? Because of Clark's status as a free port zone, many multinational businesses, including the BPO companies, Philippines, see it as an attractive location for their operations. Even well-established corporations like Samsung, Texas Instruments, and Yokohama have headquarters in this area. Pampanga does not only focus on the big companies. Because of the province, local government units or the LGUs have pledged to fully implement the Republic Act 11032 or the Ease of Doing Business and Efficient Government Service Delivery Act of 2018. During the 2021 Pampanga Chamber of Commerce and Industry membership meeting, it said that the enactment of Ease of Doing Business Act made it easy and convenient for the people of Pampanga to start businesses. Additionally, the province also encouraged the Congress to pass the amendments to the Foreign Investment Act, the Public Service Act, and the Retail Trade Liberation Act to attract more foreign investments. With the commercial law or corporation law, it helps the Pampanga to grow and become open to business and investment. As said earlier, some of the large corporation is located in this province, and LGUs continue to help its people to start their own business. That's all for the commercial law or corporation law and to Pampanga.
The laws helped us to manage and maintain our tourist destinations and tourists safe and secured by providing us regulations and preventing unlawful actions. But we also have United Nations World Tourism Organization Global Code of Ethics for Tourism, which serves as a fundamental reference for responsible and sustainable tourism, and it is addressed to the governments, travel industry, communities, and tourists. Article 1. Tourism's contribution to mutual understanding and respect between peoples and societies. In Pampanga, there are also a number of religious and cultural sites that both locals and tourists will enjoy. Locals and governments continues to create an effort to welcome tourists who seeks new experiences and learnings about culture. Article 2. Tourism as a vehicle for individual and collective fulfillment. Giant Lantern and Philippine International Hot Air Balloon Fiesta are two most popular festivals held in Pampanga. And with this, not only individuals are empowered but also communities are coerced to have a culture of tolerance and respect for one another. Article 3. Tourism a factor of sustainable development. Restaurants, hotels, and other tourism-related establishments are well developed, and tourism has provided great opportunities for income generation. Article 4. Tourism, a user of cultural heritage of mankind and contributor to its establishment. Being blessed with beautiful tourist destinations also mean that you are obliged to respect tourism resources as it belongs to the common heritage of mankind. The local government ensure the policies and regulations to protect and to pass it to the next generation. Article 5 is tourism, a beneficial activity for host countries and communities. Tourism had been providing economic growth, encouraging preservation of cultural and historical sites, as well as improvement of both superstructures and infrastructures. Article 6. Obligations of stakeholders in tourism development. We secure that the tourism professionals deliver the objective and honest information to all tourists who visit. Article 7 is about right to tourism. This is applied as Pampanga continues to open door for all tourists, assuring our rights to enjoy natural gifts and man-made tourist attractions. Article 8, Liberty of Tourist Movements. This provides a protection of human rights to have an access to travel and to stay with no discrimination, to communicate, to have same rights as citizens, and so on. Article 9, the rights of the workers and entrepreneurs in the tourism industry. The employees' rights of tourism-related establishments are guaranteed under the supervision of local governments. Last but not the least, Article 10, implementation of the principles of the Global Code of Ethics for Tourism. This is not only for the Pampanga, but also for the Philippines as a country that provides tourism services to both local and international tourists. These principles give direction and guidance to the stakeholders in tourism.